Today is Tuesday, the 19th of October 2021, and it is a pleasant good morning and a warm welcome to your program Good Morning, the program that always starts your day. I am Sheku Smiler. Well, our quote of the day is from an American author, and it says, "The one successful way to get things you want from life is to acquire skills in dealing with people." Coming up in this edition of the program Good Morning, Sierra Leone, Statistics Sierra Leone to commence pilot census today. Sierra Leone police commence an operation to restore order in the country. And also in this edition of the program, police to respond to an alleged kidnapping of a child at Kim Tong. All of these and more lined up in this edition in the program Good Morning Sierra Leone. But as always, we are still in the fight against COVID-19, so it is imperative that we keep ourselves healthy. The reason we must all adhere to all COVID-19 protocols by health professionals. So let us watch and see what is there for us this morning. We are back, and the program you're watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live from Broadcasting House, Unionville in Freetown. We are going to start this particular edition on a very sad note, as we've lost one of our staff. She was very instrumental at the Mende unit, at the regional unit of the SLBC. But she is Violeta Conte, and she was a Mende administrator. She passed away yesterday in Freetown. Well, she was very much outstanding, and very much dedicated to her work at a broadcasting house here in Freetown. She was very unassuming, every other day you see Violeta, she was quiet, calm, but very much, focused on what she was doing. Well, in the studio to talk more on the life of this great woman. And she worked at the SLBS, into the SLBC for over 20 years. Well, she was more attached to the radio department at this institution. Well, the executive producer of radio SLBC, Princess Gibson, is here to, reflect or, tell us who this person was, Violeta Conte. Good morning, Madam Gibson, and welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you very much, Sheku.
Yes, indeed, it is a great loss. Somebody all of us know, worked with for years. She is no more. Now, just give us some fond memories of Violeta Conte.
Yes, and Sheku, the SLBC as an institution, especially the radio division, is saddened by the loss of one of our colleagues, Violeta Conte, who's specifically worked for the Mende unit of our local language, a unique feature of the SLBC. Violeta was a very quiet and pleasant personality, even though she related within her own domain. Violeta could be remembered for her excellent delivery of the news in Mende, and also for commentary during big events for outside broadcasting. Violeta was respectful and was very dedicated to work, very punctual. So her loss has created indeed a gap for the Mende unit and the radio department in general.
Now, many people will actually remember this great woman, Violeta Conte, for her presentation style. broadcasts, the way she used to present, especially the Mende news. And she was so much, depth into this Mende language that no matter the English you write, she will interpret it, into Mende, appearing to be the same as written. Now, like you said, this is there is a vacuum. She has left a vacuum. But for those who do not know how much, she was calm, very much dedicated. Now that she has gone and she's no more, one of the things that us that are yet to go, will actually learn from the way she lived.
Yes, she was very assuming and humble, and also very much dedicated to her duties, even though most times most people admire presenters and newsreaders in the English language department or for English language delivery, but Violetta carved a niche in Mende delivery. She was an expert in her own right. She could be remembered for excellent commenting, especially during big events like outside broadcast. And most people who are knowledgeable about Mende, each time she delivers, they will tell you, oh, Violetta knew the Mende language. So she's going to be missed. There is going to be a gap, even though we have others like Nancy Fama, Mitina Kamara, those were of her colleagues, but there is going to be a gap in that unit that with time the management could find way to fill.
Now the thing is that apart from her being, very much humble, very much dedicated to duty, she was also a very beautiful woman.
She was pretty indeed. Yeah. She was pretty indeed. She dressed to match, dressed to colors, dressed to taste. She was very quiet and very pleasant. She related though, but she related within her own domain. Most times she's in the company of colleagues like Nancy Fama, her peers, Mitina Kamara. They came here for the past 20 years. So most time she was in their company. She was very dedicated to duty, and she's going to be missed by the corporation.
Now, any updates, on funeral arrangements and so far?
There is going to be an official visit by the management today after 12. We have put together programs. There's going to be collection of tributes within the SLBC, especially the radio department, for her life and times, how she spent her life and times, fond memories that she could be remembered for. There are other programs, phone-in programs for the public to also contribute about her work and how she related.
All right, and thank you so much. She is Princess Gibson, who is executive producer radio at the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, where we are missing, Violetta. We love you, but God loves you best. We pray that God receives you in His bosom, and may your soul rest in perfect peace. The program you are still watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Well, let us take this very short break, and we'll be right back. And the program you're watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Well, as you may have heard in the news, Statistics Sierra Leone will today commence the pilot phase of 2001 population and midterm population and housing census. Well, yesterday, which was the celebration of the birth of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was the pilot night. And today, the pilot the census night. I mean, but today is the actual commencement of the pilot phase of the midterm population and housing census. But to know how this process is going to be going on, we have here in the studio Abdullah Ibrahima, and he is actually the National Census Coordinator. Good morning and welcome to the program, Mr. Ibrahima.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Now, yesterday was Census Night, and the Census Night actually coincided with the celebration of the birth of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. And today is going to be the start of the pilot phase of the 2001 population and midterm population housing census. Now, in the first place, yesterday was Census Night. There was no in the census program or process. What happens on Census Night?
Thank you very much, and please give me the opportunity to just refresh people's mind on this whole census, midterm census process. The midterm census was a concept actually developed by Statistics Sierra Leone, and we discussed with development partners to get them involved into it to see how they can provide funding in addition to the funding that the government will provide. So we share that concept to the World Bank, and they actually bought into it. And July last year, His Excellency the President actually made the first proclamation to conduct the first midterm population and housing census in Sierra Leone. Since then, Statistics Sierra Leone has been working with different partners to ensure that at least we get the proclamation of His Excellency the President, actually materialized. So where did we start? We started by actually forming up committees. We have a secretariat committee which comprised of technical directors and other technical people at Statistics Sierra Leone. We also form a technical committee, broad-based technical committee, which also comprises of partners and also other universities and other people that are actually involved in census activities. We also have the advisory committee, which was actually also formed and mandated, and it comprises of all political parties in this country, and all security apparatus in this country are part of the advisory committee. So what that means is that for every stage that we want to proceed on, and we get the advice from the advisory committee to give us the green light actually to proceed. And we also collaborated with a lot of international and other sister statistical institutions to give us the support. We are in collaboration with the ECA, the Economic Commission for Africa, and it's an institution that has actually taken up the responsibility to oversee comparative census conduct across Africa. We are also in collaboration with the ONS, the National Office of Statistics Office in the UK. We are in collaboration with the Ghana Statistics Office and also the KNBS, the Kenya Statistics Bureau, who actually, by negotiation through UNFPA and ECA, they were able to give us 20,000 tablets and power banks that we'll be using for the census.
Okay, now let us talk about because when the pronouncement was made by no less person than the president, for this midterm population housing census, and there was some concerns in certain quarters as to why a midterm population and housing census. Some people were suggesting that the timing was not appropriate enough. Now the question is, why a midterm population and housing census?
And you are right. Actually, the concept of midterm population and housing census is new in Sierra Leone. So you would expect that when such new concept comes up, and a lot of people who have limited information about the concept will say, oh, this is not right, it's not right, this is not right, the timing is not right. We actually receive a lot of those comments from the public and also from other stakeholders within the country. The main purpose of this midterm census actually is in three folds. One of which is to provide an updated information on the population and housing in this country. Then also to address some of the reported challenges of the 2015 and census that was conducted, and also react. We are also reacting by the use of a computer-assisted personal interview for the next upcoming census, which is 2025. So we received actually a lot of bashes from within and several circles, but then we have actually jumped over those things now. We are able to educate them, and they aligned actually with Statistics Sierra Leone and also the government of this country that there is need for us to actually provide an updated information on the housing and population data in between 2015 and 2025, and also address some of the challenges that we actually are reported for the 2015. So,
all right, and now let us come to the census itself.
Yeah.
The pilot phase, which is starting today, and yesterday was census night.
Yes, pilot census night.
Pilot census night. Yeah. Now the thing is, this census night, even in the Bible, when Jesus was actually born, on census night, right? Yes.
Okay.
So now let us talk about the census night again. What is the significance of the census night?
Yeah, just 1 minute. Just before the census night, how did we come to this milestone? We first and foremost have done cartography. Cartography means is to divide the country into sizable enumeration areas, workload areas, for an enumerator to be able to count within 2 weeks. 2 weeks during the census. So what that means is after the mapping, we realize that we have up to about 24,000 enumeration areas. So we have carefully selected 1% of that and spread it across the country, actually involving a lot of domains. For instance, mountain areas, riverine areas, border areas, hard to reach areas, urban centers and rural areas, type 3 locality, and also many of them. So we are testing the data collection application that we have developed, data collection application and syncing application that we have developed over time at Statistics Sierra Leone. We are testing that. We are sending enumerators to these selected EAs to collect data and sync with their supervisors, and also sync with HQ, and see how we can retrieve those data from the server and see if it's actually the data that they collected. So, and we are spread across the entire country, but we are not reaching out to everywhere.
Okay.
We are only going to concentrate on the selected EEs that we have actually.
So when did how the selection process itself, how did you come to selecting? I know you did it randomly.
Yeah.
But let us know the areas to be targeted. For example, in the Western area, where do we expect in
the Western area, we have EAs that falls within the Western rural and also Western urban. As I said, we targeted overpopulated, high density populated areas, urban areas. So we have some EAs that is going to definitely cover the urban areas of Freetown. We also have EAs that we cover and the rural areas in the provinces. We have EAs that actually some EAs that we combine 3 or more villages to make up an EA. We also selected those kind of and structure to ensure that we actually test the application. So it is a norm that you usually use your provisional EAs that you have carved, 1% of it. So we carved up to about 24,000 EAs, and 1% of it is 240. So we are testing the application, the data collection application, the syncing the data collection application during this process. So let me come to the census night now. What that means is that all the information that we are going to collect, demographic information, economic information, has to be referenced to the census night. If enumerators come to your household, the first question they will ask you is, Smaila, how many people actually slept in your house on the census night? Even if you have usual residents in your house, but for as long as they did not sleep in your house on the census night, they will not be captured in your household. So it has to be usual resident. And what some of the other activities also for the census night is that we do institution and a floating population. Institution means, overnight, last night, our enumerators were actually visiting in their EAs, institutional locations like hotels, and actually get the record of those who actually slept in some hotels. They also were after floating population. Floating population means those people that do not have a fixed abode. During the mapping period, we actually took GPS coordinates of those, for instance, that sleep in marketplaces, they sleep under bridges. So those were actually targeted last night, and they will continue the process in the next 2 weeks.
But then you also target, insane persons,
They all
who are, like you said, they don't have any fixed abode.
they are all included.
Yes. What about the prisons?
Of course, prisons, correctional centers are also institutional population. What we do is we go to the correctional center. You have administrators at those places, so they give us information as to the inhabitants in those correctional centers. So they are also captured.
Okay, now the work is ongoing because today is the start of this pilot phase.
Yeah.
Now, how many people do you really intend capturing in terms of the figure?
Oh, you mean the total population? We are
during this pilot phase.
As I said, we are just testing. We are testing the instruments that we have developed, the servers, the data collection and applications and syncing applications. So we will definitely count every person that resides in that EA. Okay. So all of the 240 EAs will definitely count all the people that resided in those EAs during the census night.
Now, census is very strategic in planning for country's economy. Yeah. Because development planners actually need to know the number of people in the country, where they live, what their needs are, etc., etc. And whatever comes out of this particular census will also determine how resources are allocated. So tell us the significance of after this particular census, because the first one, the one that was held in 2015, there were gray areas that this particular census now, intends to address. What is the assurance that this particular census, once it is done, the outcome will be what is actually needed for this country?
So first, let me start by emphasizing on the importance of a census. Census, of course, you need to count everybody within a specific period. Then also you need to also count the structures, the houses, the living quarters of everybody and the conditions in which they live. And that is very important actually for development partners. You want to know, what's the sanitary conditions of the houses that people are living in your country. You also want to know the total number of people in your country, the composition of the people, male and female, and where are they actually located geographically. That is very important for interventions and also measures to improve on indicators that the government or development partners are trying to improve on. So it is important to count people, and it is
politically also it is important, because, like, for example, when NEC wants to do what they call boundary delimitation, they rely on the census report to delimit boundaries. Also in the allocation of not actually allocation of resources, that is one, but also the delimitation will determine how many constituencies, wards, as the case may be. So census is something that politicians take very seriously, and the outcome of this particular census will depend on on the politics, the economy, even the social conditions of people. So the credibility of a census is very crucial to countries' socio-economic, political, and even cultural development. So tell us, like I asked, how credible is this census going to be?
And it's credible. It's going to be credible. But just before I come to that, you have actually highlighted a lot of uses to which people or development partners, government actually wants to put the census information to, or the census data to. But because we have limited time, and that actually falls outside the domain of statistics, because what we are actually interested in, or our mandate is to ensure that we collect credible data. So the consequences of collecting, the result, what comes after the provision of credible data as determined by those who want to use it. I don't really want to spend much time on how politically they will look at it. I think we have the Ministry of Local Government that will come one day and tell you that as a result of this midterm population and housing census, this is what we intend to do. I don't want to put more time on it. But if you are talking about credibility of the census, this is a digital census, and it's the first time in Sierra Leone that we're actually collecting census information using digital means. That means it's computer-assisted personal interview. We are using tablets. I mean, the questionnaires are embedded in the tablet. We have the manuals embedded. We also have maps, interactive maps of the EA, such that when enumerators go to an EA, they'll be able to identify buildings that are already incorporated or embedded into the maps. And we have GPS coordinates. It's the data that we are collecting link up with GPS coordinates. So gone are days when people will just go and sit under a tree with paper data collection, and fill in the paper and come back to head office and say, this is what we collected. If you actually fail to go to a particular building that is in our record, definitely you won't send any information about it. So that is where the credibility is coming from. So we have put in place checks. For instance, for every enumerator has a supervisor. So you collect your data. At the end of the day, you sync your data with your supervisor. He will review your work. If it is proper, then the supervisor will sync it to the data quality management team, who are also installed at all districts in this country. So the data quality management team will also run some scripts on the data that have been collected. If there are issues, then they will contact the supervisor and say, tell that enumerator to go back to that enumeration area to correct this and this. So we have put a lot of checks in place to ensure that we actually collect
so there was, Mr. Grandman, you'll be in your office and you know exactly what is happening in the field.
Correctly.
So nobody will go and sit under a tree and just fill in.
No, gone are those days. Gone are those days. In fact, today what we intend to do this week is, since they are starting the actual accounting today, we are going to install a dashboard, and that dashboard is also dashboard. The dashboard is also going to be open to journalists, to civil society, to stakeholders. You walk into Start SM and you see the flow of data from the field. You can see demographically, you can see some analysis. They will tell you this is a population that is coming from Pujon. These are male, these are female, these are children that has been vaccinated. So you see all of those things on the dashboard today. I mean, we are going to install that. You will
so let us know how long this pilot phase is going to.
It's going to last for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
You know, and starting today.
Yes, and we expect actually everybody in Sierra Leone to cooperate with our enumerators when they get to you.
All right, and thank you so much. And he is the census coordinator, Statistics Sierra Leone, and he's Abdullah Buraima. Thank you so much. As Statistics Sierra Leone has commenced, because today is Tuesday, the 19th of October 2021. Today is the start of the pilot phase of the 2021 midterm population and housing census. The program you're watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. We are going for a very short break, and we'll be right back.
Vimto's unique recipe has been refreshing Sierra Leoneans for over 30 years. Only Vimto has the secret blend of fruits, herbs and spices that has tasted great since 1908. Don't be fooled by inferior imitations. Vimto. Insist on the original.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done. And its flavor, it's amazing. This is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Inkulenu's Ghana's original spiced palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available brown gold natural cocoa powder, sunny gold brown sugar, meat for flour, shito, pisa, and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Inkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste. I am back, and the program you're watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Well, as you may have heard in the news, the police, in collaboration with Traders Union, they have started an operation. Well, the police have started an operation called Operation Restore Order. This is to remove traders from the streets and footpaths so that there will be free flow of traffic. Well, the operation which started last week has succeeded in combating the traffic along the Regent Holomley axis in Freetown, among other areas. Well, for more on this, we have in the studio Assistant Superintendent of Police, Sayo Conte, and also the Vice President of the Petty Traders of this country, and he is in Bandi Lansana. Well, good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Chef.
Now, ESP, let us talk about this operation. According to you, you've made some gains, especially around the Regent Golomley axis in Freetown, well, among other areas. And as far as it has been, a huge success. Well, let us in the first place talk about the motivation behind this operation. Well, this is not the first operation the Sierra Leone police actually embarked on. You've got several operations in the past. Operation Pushback, Operation Free Flow. You've got all these operations. But after a few months or weeks, you see, what you are trying to combat actually happening. So let us talk about this Operation Restore Order. What does this operation intend to achieve actually?
Yeah, thank you so very much, Sheikh Usmail. Of course, we are aiming at consistency, continuous engagement with other key stakeholders, including the media, to let the public understand that we are not against individuals, but we are against anything that is not correct. In other words, in the true spirit of the law, trading along the streets is illegal. So that's what we are pushing against. We are not, coming hard on individuals or traders per se, but generally you may want to see orderliness in society, a very calm, peaceful CBD area in which the right of way will be cleared and the free flow of traffic will just be continuous. In that regard, we've realized that has been a problem, and the operation does not necessarily targeting traders. We have miscreants, people who usually park their vehicles on the road, and even those who have the guts to manufacture garages illegally along the roadsides, and those who have the habit of depositing garbage along the road, throwing fields. So all of those, this operation is targeting generically all those areas. So if you may want to cite some example, we have certain areas, to be very sincere, Sheikh Sumaila and viewers, we are targeting areas like Jue, yes, Junction, 55 Waterloo, Bottom Mango, Wilberforce, Lumley Market, Upgone, Eastern Police, Grindtown, Grafton, etc. So there are certain areas in which traders to a very large extent, I will say, violated the right of ordinary pedestrians. Wherein they should use at footpaths. Traders have occupied those areas, so they have no alternative but to come to the streets. And if drivers do not pay more concentration, they will hit people walking on the streets. And there are certain areas of streets that have almost been occupied by traders. Hardly you see vehicles using those areas. So in a nutshell, we are saying we are not against individual traders, but what is not correct, trading on the street or along the street, and we are saying we have operational independence.
Concept. Let us talk about the sustainability of this particular operation in restore order, because like I mentioned earlier, this is not the first time the police, the Sierra Leone police, are actually embarking on operations. We have names, Operation Free Flow, Operation Pushback, and all the rest of it. But the sustainability has been, a question.
Yes.
Because you go get the traders off the streets, after a few days or a few months or a few weeks, you see them returning. So the sustainability aspect of this particular operation is what I think people are mostly concerned, about.
You're right, Sheku, because people, especially the traders, are failing to understand the philosophy behind getting them off the streets. The philosophy there is, it's a collective fight, including, of course, my brother sitting here. We want to engage even the media to inform, educate, communicate and sensitize, if not conscientize, the minds of the traders that we are not, against them, individual lives, but we are against what they are doing, selling along the streets. And also, another aspect that will make this operation sustainable is the issue that has to do with honesty, sincerity, because to be very sincere, when there are certain areas, preferably lonely, when we get them off the streets, after we shall have moved, they will come back and occupy those places that will get them off. So the sincerity and letting them understanding the philosophy behind them going off the streets is the turning issue. So we are, I'm appealing for collective efforts, synergy, coordination, cooperation with other institutions that will get people understand that the police are not against you individually, but the police can't sit by and see disorderliness. The police can't sit by and see things going wrongly. So it's the responsibility of the police to put order in society, to get free flow, clearing the right of way, and let people, sense or actualize sanity, order in the city.
All right, and thank you so much. And here is ASP Conte, Sao Conte, the media officer too, as of the Sierra Leone Police. Now, let me go over to the Vice President of the Traders of this country, and he's Bandi Lansana. Now, Mr. Bandi, you're working with the police to ensure sanity, especially in the central business districts or areas that are very much, business busy. If I should put it that way. Now, the sustainability of this particular operation is what many are concerned with. Tell us, the compliance level of your traders. Are they really, complying?
Thank you very much, man. It's a pleasure having me this morning. Indeed, we are asking the police for us to get back to the drawing board, because the operation comes as a surprise for us. We are not consulted, and you will agree with me, in good governance system, social dialogue is key. Because of the nitty-gritties, the concerns, the issues that are affecting traders warrant the police to call us on the drawing board. Like you mentioned, we have a whole lot of operations. Operation Weed, Free Flow, Pushback, you name them. But they cannot sustain. Simple reason, the issues, the challenges that we are facing as traders, the sincerity to address those issues are not there. How can you ask people to move from the streets, which true is not correct by law, but these people and they are living in these places, and you cannot prefer or create an alternative means that you want to lead them, you want to subject them to prostitution, to other bad crimes that will lead the police not to sleep at night. So what all we are saying that, yes, indeed, we've occupied the street, yes, but it's as a result of there are no adequate alternative. Infrastructure is a challenge, the policies is a challenge. You agree with me that you, Sumada, if you want a single polish to polish your shoe, you walk right in the shop. Those shops that sells in wholesale, those shops that imports, do retail. How can the poor indigenous man hands his business? But if the police should have done their assignment well by consulting other stakeholders, as now the Ministry of Trade is working on coming up with an indigenous bill that will protect or that will distinguish between the wholesale and retail, I think we shall be in a position.
According to you know, the non-citizens trade act, you know, dating back to the 60s or so. You know, if you are selling in if you are in wholesale business, it must be wholesale. If you are a retailer, you must sell in retail. There is a clear-cut dichotomy as to who does what. But if the traders themselves, you know, they go into the shops of those who are supposed to be selling in wholesale, they buy in retail, they come out and they also sell in retail. So it is like even the traders are aiding the situation, because some of them are selling right in front of shops that are supposed to be selling in wholesale. I know you.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But listen, just like I mentioned, you move to the shop to buy a single pair of battery. So what I need to do, I am your customer who buys wholesale who buys dozens from you. I need to stand at a point where you move to. So if you meet me at the door, you will not leave me because of price. But now, like I said, the issue are so many, right? The 1969 Retail Trade Act has been repealed, as we have made to understand, because now foreign people, national Lebanese, own their own passport, because the law says an indigenous, right? And as I said, a lot of people who are doing business, foreign nationals, have their own passport, which have made them to become national. So that law no longer significant. That's why we've put the issue before the ministry and all other government operators and ministry are working on it now to ensure that they have a clear distinction. What is missing again? This government or past government are giving to you, Smiler, a wholesale license and a retail license. You do what it is. What's left for the indigenous poor man that is just selling on petty trading? How can he survive?
But the thing is that now, Bandy, you will agree with me that you know, street trading, you know, is unacceptable. You know, in many countries, Leone being no exception. Now the thing is, don't you think instead of saying that what the police are doing, you know, is not correct because they didn't sit down with you to negotiate, to dialogue, but at the same time you also know that what you are doing is not correct?
Yes, in some place we do know, right? But that's why we believe to sit in dialogue and see how we can organize all what is missing here. The infrastructures are not there. So what shall we do? We need to sit and organize ourselves to ensure that we keep within the law. But to be very honest, there are no markets. There is no law that protects the poor man to do his retail at his own way. So all we are subjected to, let's get them off the street. But if he takes off the street, how can we survive? How can we contribute in the economy? Don't forget, we operating in the formal economy. We are 75 or 78%. Right? So we own this economy. We are movers and shakers of the economy. When you see business flow, we are key in the chain. So the day it cuts us off, we withhold our service, but it tells on the economy.
So Mandy, are you saying that, you know, if the Non-Citizens Trade Act is enforced fully, then you will comply? Is that what you said?
That's one of the key.
Okay.
Right? Because that if it has come to law, just like how the Ministry of Trade are working on it, then we'll start addressing the problem. Right? Second, we look at the infrastructure. The existing market, like me and you know, they are for perishable goods. Go to the Bombay, even the traders that are selling fish, pepper, plazas, the infrastructure that the market space is in Bombay cannot accommodate all of them. So these are all challenges that I believe we are working on to. Now the government is working on a project, right? Like I had my brother said, all the spots that he mentioned, these are corridors that the Iron project might need in the future. So we are in touch with Iron, which is World Bank project through under the Ministry of Transport, negotiating, discussing how we should collect information and see a possible relocation of these people. We are still on that. Take a look at Jue. Jue, we have a very serious hit at Jue. A lot of businesses were destroyed. Nobody take responsibility. And it's bad. We are traders. This money owns by us. Some of us generate this money through micro. In
other words, Von Leland, Vice President of Traders. Now, are you saying that because you were not consulted by the police and negotiation did not take place at all, so you are not going to comply?
The issue of compliance, like I said, we are dialoguing, right? It came as a surprise. Just a day, police came with megaphone. Leave this place. We are not criminals. We are doing our legal businesses. So we believe if the police have issues with us, what beats our imagination again? Operation Restore Order. Are we traders that are not in order? Right? There are a lot of other issues that police might have been taken care of. But nobody comes, nobody raises alarm, only the traders, because we feel the heat. We are only the people that police targeted. So we are asking, why should this be targeted?
Now let's begin in ASP content. Now, Van is asking a question. This operation has a code name, Operation Restore Order. So Van is asking, are they the only ones that behave disorderly?
Of course, Sheku, it's rather unfortunate my brother Yabandi is failing to grasp or understand the intent or the nature of this particular operation. What am I saying here? When we say Operation Restore Order, the word order simply means, public peace. If you are selling at a place that you are destroying or affecting or having the tendency to obstruct other road users, that is disorderliness, simply put. So your trading should not affect the movement of pedestrians, drivers. So in that situation, we class that action or activity as disorderliness. And I'm not the spokesperson for the Ministry of Trade, but he was saying there are no markets. And that one, I will say it's not true. There are markets, and maybe they are looking for, in quotes, well-constructed, well-ventilated, structures that you fill in. But there are markets. For instance, you go to Kuto Road Market. The market is not too full in capacity. People are just coming to do trade on the street or along the street, and also to save their executive management. Many times, Freetown City Council find it very tough with those traders or selling items along the streets to pay the market dues or to get them to respond positively in issuing tickets to them for them to pay. It's so difficult, but this operation will aid the management of the traders union in the sense that you will have a well-structured, so go off the streets. When many times most of your people, they will say, you don't even know them, they are just too scattered. We are helping you to galvanize, to organize yourselves so that you can have a well-structured system. But for now, we cannot sit by. That's our mandate, to see disorderliness taking place without taking action. We have the legitimacy. We are saying our parents, our relatives are doing trading. But what is wrong is wrong. And the police, we do have operational independence.
Okay, now, Vonnie, ASP says, they are doing what is legitimate. As far as they are concerned, what they are doing is legal, and they are fighting disorderliness, and what some of your guys are doing in the streets or on the streets, are things that fall that prescription, as being disorderly.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me do some clarifications. I never mentioned that there are no market. I said the existing market cannot stand the test of time. The number or the capacity the market is housing for now overweighs the existing number of traders within that various locality or that certain locality, right? Like he said, they want to help us to manage our system. We have a well-structured, organized and coordinated executive running through the national, the market areas, district, whatever, right? So we do have a command chain.
So please tell
we are working. We are working. We are working with the City Council, right? The issue of challenge of collecting market dues is a thing of the past, right? And we are working. If we are trying to build our capacity, engage to see how best we can run our administration very well, it's a matter of consultation. Let's come to the drawing board. For us to understand all what you are saying, I think you have to engage us, tell us. But what we are saying, government is working in addressing the issue of street trading in a well-designed and permanent solution. There is a place in the way, Lumley, which is already, there are funds for the market in Lumley. Even the Lumley vicinity for a temporary state.
So in other words, are you appealing that the police, actually, allow you to continue your trading until those structures are finished and you're not ready to move into them, to occupy them? So before that particular time, the police should not go ahead with this particular operation. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we are looking for solutions and sustainable solutions. Like he mentioned, I mentioned, you mentioned, all the operations have failed because there are no credible alternative. If you want to solve the problem of street trading, let's look at the legitimate concern that we've raised. Like I said, government is working on that. Soon or later, the Iron Project will be in full operation. You will see the street of the Abacha Street, Eastern Police, like Wilberforce Street, will be cleared into Victoria Park, right? The process is on. So that's why we are asking them to consult the various land ministries. They will be informed as to what are the development. Already, we are working on the Lumley market, right? And a temporary market is on construction, so that we may remove these people in the right of way, house them at that temporary market at Lumley for waiting for the completion of the main market at Lumley. So we need time to ensure that all this has happened, or else they want us to sit back, wait at home for all this thing to be achieved, which would cause a lot of other problems because people have to live, have to take care of their families, have to pay tax.
So until the completion of the structures you're talking about, you should be allowed to continue with your street trading.
Yeah, we are looking for a permanent solution.
Well,
Breaking out from the street is not a solution.
The police ready for that?
Well, that's why I said
Van is saying that you need to give them some time until structures that are not being constructed, until they are completed, for them to move into to continue with their trading. They should be allowed to be trading on the street until those structures are completed.
That is very much unrealistic. Very much unrealistic, and also it is unnegotiable because we cannot negotiate illegality. What we are saying, my brother Vanny understands that the issue of them getting off the streets, people or the populace will suffer. No, that one I will strongly and hastily debunk that one, in the sense that we have, huge shops, big traders who have all what you petty traders holding along the streets. So the public will appreciate you falling off or moving off the street, and they will have simple, easy access to go to the big shops and buy or purchase whatever they want to. So see, we call it under logic appealing to pity. Understand? That's we cannot tolerate. But what I'm saying is enforcing the law is what we are responsible to do.
All right,
Mr. Smith, as I've heard the police are subjecting us to other things to do rather than doing business. If he's saying that it will give a leverage to those big capital. So what about indigenous that are trading? We have a whole number, close to 1 million.
Okay.
What will be the position of these people? So shall we leave the short and we see
so now only the police are saying that the operation is going to be sustained and they are not, there is no turning back.
Yeah.
That is what the police are saying.
Yeah, we are on dialogue.
Okay, you are still dialogue.
Yeah, we are dialoguing. We'll engage them. Since they fail to engage us, we'll be engaging them for us to look for a solution. A concrete solution.
The police are also saying that they cannot, negotiate or illegality.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, according to them, it's an illegality, but we're paying taxes. Right? And how can an illegal somebody paying tax?
Alright, okay, thank you so much, Evan De Lansana. He is the Vice President of the Petty Traders of Sierra Leone. Earlier you heard ESP Sao Conte. He is a media too of the Sierra Leone Police. Well, we are on this operation code name Operation Restore Order. Well, that is how we say goodbye. It has been Good Morning Sierra Leone, which came to you live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Many thanks to the entire production team, especially producer Joseph Stanley. I am Sheku Smiler saying goodbye and have a wonderful day.
A place cannot produce poems. It can only not prevent them. And Freetown is good at that, for Freetown has its own sudden elegances. People are slow to leave it, quick to return. And there are others who come for a year or two and stay for a lifetime, sensing that they found a city that is in the world, yet sufficiently on the edge of it to have a different resonance. Let me tell you something about this city. All of us, we're all just passing through, and we've all been here forever. Those who came, those who stayed, those who never returned. Tides turn, seasons change, we've waited and we've watched. But we've always been here, we've always listened, because there is a different resonance here. It comes from the river, and the land, and the sky.
It's our place. All of us.
This city belongs to everyone.
And you know when it's your time.
And it's our time.
Listen, we are Freetown.
We are Freetown!
The golden rules of Freetown.
Don't pretend you're something that you're not.
Don't go thinking you're better than anyone else, or that anyone else is better than you.
Don't shout about it. Get on with it.
We are Freetown.
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 Yeah.
We found our voice again.
I'm from India and Freetown.
I'm from China and Freetown.
I'm from the UK and Freetown.
I am from Nigeria and Freetown.
I am from home and Freetown.
This city belongs to everyone.
The fisherman,
The taxi driver,
The barber,
The drummers, dancers,
All of us. All of us. Everybody. We are Freetown.
The past is ours.
the future is ours. It's our time again.
and this city belongs to everyone.
The playwright,
The greengrocer,
The teacher,
the dog.
this space is ours.
this light is ours.
The beaches are ours.
the rivers now we own.
The roads are ours.
The bridges now we own.
We are Freetown.
We are all visitors and we've all been here forever.
We've got the mightiest river.
And the biggest sky.
And there's a resonance again.
Freetown, Freetown.
We are proud of this place.
We love this city.
And we want you to love it too.
We are proud of this place.
Now pass we all they pass like stranger them. But we all don't dare from take. Come here, and you'll feel it, that end of the line sense of freedom. Say yes to Freetown. Say yes to freedom.
Papa na Maggie dey eat.
No, not to Maggie. Na Milo Energy Cube. It gets vitamin and mineral wey good for the family. E good for pikin and big person. E get calcium wey go make your teeth strong and healthy.
Papa, e go able help me for my sport?
Oh yes, e good for people dem wey active and people dem wey dey inside sports. Na 50 cube dey inside one packet and 40 packets inside one carton.